TK, nice to be talking to you this morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, obviously, rough night last night, but a good day today.
I was gonna say, you did say like you're not big on losing, but
Yeah.
unfortunately we saw what happened yesterday. How are you taking it all in now?
Yeah, well, I'm a big loser yesterday, but I feel like it's still okay. I think for this, I came in with the mindset that the reality of me winning this is so far-fetched. Especially just I'm not a person who can blend in, and typically those are the people who win. I can't blend, so I felt like I wasn't gonna probably win, but I wanted to just get as far as I could under my own fruition, and I did what I did. I went out on my own terms, so I can't be too upset about it.
Now, looking at back at was made a big deal about the comment you made after the challenge.
Mhm.
Obviously, you were speaking the truth. You say nobody here wants to lose. Nobody wants to leave the game. Um,
Yeah.
how do you feel? Were you expecting it to go over as it did? Was it a shock to you that, it didn't ring true with some people?
It was a shock to me because I literally had this same speech with them after every single challenge we did. Like we didn't do well at any challenge up until that point.
Right,
So I've had this same speech where I'm like, you guys, we got to work on this communication. We got to figure this out. We got to figure
right,
out who needs to do what. And everybody always was nonchalant about it, like, oh no, we're fine. We were second place, we're fine. And it's like second place is really close to last place, guys. So we
yeah,
need to like figure this out. But I feel like just as a competitor, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I want to win. And I think I wanted my tribe to have that same fire. And when I could see like people or I can hear from Jeff that people were smiling and having a good time, it was frustrating, but it was also a little bit frustrating once you understand, John, like what actually happened in the challenge that's not shown,
right.
which actually caused me to really be frustrated. Um,
What happened? Let us
yeah.
know.
So essentially, going into that challenge,
Right,
Gabe, myself, and Kyle, we offered up to be the three who go on and complete the platform part.
right,
And Gabe made it. He was so adamant, like I want to be in the middle. I want to be the main guy. This is gonna be like my show, whatever. So we're like, okay, cool, Gabe, cool, whatever. Like again, I'm a team player, John. You really rarely see me trying to jump in front of the camera to do something that like I'm doing all the teamwork stuff. If I need to get out and grab something, I'm getting out and doing it.
right.
So Gabe's just like, I want to be in the middle. I want to be the highlight of this thing. And I'm like, okay, Gabe, cool. He gets in the middle of the challenge, and essentially, mid challenge, we fall at the same spot like 7 times, right? Um, and you can see me in the challenge. I'm like, wait, 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 wait. Like I'm telling
Yeah,
them a couple times and they're not listening. And
yeah,
at one point I tell Gabe, listen, I have a different vantage point than you. There's additional space on the other side of this thing. If you listen to me, I can tell you how we can get around this. We won't
right,
fall anymore. And we can do the same thing for every single hole that we come past. There's an easier way to go around these things.
right.
And Gabe literally yells at me, one voice, my voice, nobody else talk, just listen to what I'm saying. And I'm like, what are we doing? And no one else I said a word to Gabe about it. So
Right,
that was frustrating for me because there was no accountability of
right.
our tribe for people. And I'm like, well, somebody can go and just lose us a challenge and nobody's going to say anything about it. And it really rang true for me with Gabe too, because Gabe is actively hunting for idols every day. Nobody's making this a big deal. What is Gabe doing that I don't know about that no one cares when he's doing these things? So that was frustrating. And I think it just came out in me letting the team know that I just expect more from us because I thought we
Yeah.
would be a really strong team on paper.
Did you think she would take it so hard? Because Tieta seemed to be the one that really got upset about it. I mean, and you did apologize and you did try to make things good with her, right?
Yeah, it was weird, man. I still to this day don't really understand why she took that personal to her. It was just a
Yeah,
weird concept of that entirely. But again, I think even when she said, like, oh, I don't know if I like TK or not yet, and this is prior to her ever having a conversation with me.
right.
So yeah, like Tiana and I rarely talked on the island. So even though we were a three, it was really more through me saying we're all three strong, we need to work together.
Yeah,
But Kyle was the intermediary between myself and Tiana. So a lot
right.
of times Tiana would talk to Kyle. Me and Kyle were super close.
Yeah,
Tiana would talk to Kyle to get information to me. And I realized really quickly, like, Tiana's not really a fan of me. And I even told Kyle that. I said, Kyle, I feel like Tiana's trying to edge me out and become your number two. Like,
yeah,
she's not really, it doesn't seem like she's a fan of me. So when we get out there and I say what I say and I realize her response, I was super thrown aback because I'm like, why are you so upset? You know we're working together. Why would you think I'm calling you a loser? If I just said I don't associate with losers and you're in my alliance, how would that make any sense? Yeah. You know what I mean? It doesn't add up. So it really just, I don't know what that came from. But what I will say, John, is none of us are eating out there. None of us are really sleeping out there. A lot of
Right.
us are irritable. And I would say I was a little bit irritable too. So I can understand if Tiana was as well. And maybe her mind just took that information in another way than it maybe would have if we weren't in that situation.
Now, most people in Survivor, they don't want to take that leadership role because obviously a lot of times that puts a bullseye on you. But when you're in a tribe, when the there's three tribes and there's not very many people you have to work with, sometimes you find people having to take that role because there's just no other choice. Did you feel that way out there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, in the competitive aspect of it, I felt like I really set the tone for a lot of us when it came to
Right,
challenges. I feel like when we were back at camp, I also was always trying, hey, let's go find some food. Hey, let's go do this. Hey, let's go do
right.
that. So I felt like it was a lot of that. I mean, even a lot of times where Caroline, there was a point where she felt like she was being overtalked by a lot of people in the tribe. And I remember she mentioned that. And I would like catch people when they were overtalk her, and I'd be like, hey, let's let Caroline finish a thought. So a lot of times I'm trying to like help people, everybody kind of be comfortable. So I felt like at the end of the day, John, when I watched Survivor, the people I respected in the game were the people who did what they wanted to do. They made
Right,
their own path. Other people who followed them, great. But I never in my life have been a follower.
right.
And that just wasn't going to work with me. Now I'm a good team player. So you can ask Kyle, you can ask Tiana at any time we made any decision. I said, hey, are we all comfortable with this? Like, does anybody else have another idea we can talk about or consider? I've always made it where it's a team thing, but I feel like at the end of the day, yeah, I'm going to go with what I want to do because if I go out, I want to go out off of what I did, not off of
Yeah.
what somebody else did.
Now we saw a bit of your relationship with Sue, the rocky one that it is. Did you think she came to the island with a bit of a chip on her shoulder? Because again, you're able to spend all that time with her. We only see a very small part. What do you think was going on there? Because she was quick to come after you.
Yeah, she came after me immediately. I'd
Yeah,
say, John, this game, to be honest, is there we try to minimize it, but everybody comes in with their own biases and things that
right,
they believe when they come into this game, and you can't really plan for how somebody's going to react when they get into the game.
right,
And when watching the show, you can see like she connected with Caroline because she's like, "Oh, you look like my daughter, so we're gonna be close now." And it's
right,
like that's not really how you're supposed to make relationships. You know what I
right,
mean? So I don't think she came in with the mindset of a strategic player, and I think that everybody out there knew she wasn't a strategic player. I think that's why Gabe went to her immediately because he realized this is somebody I can manipulate.
right.
Um, and that's kind of what that was. And I think that she absolutely got manipulated. But at the same time, I don't think she ever had a plan in any shape, way, form, or capacity to connect with me. Because I think when she looked at me, she didn't see somebody that she can easily build some type of bond with, but she didn't try. So I just feel
Right.
like I tried to talk to her on a multitude of occasions and she shut it down every time. So
Yeah, that approach can seem very hollow because obviously we're more than we are on the outside, right? For sure. I mean,
exactly.
many of us there we have more in common than we have different. But I ask this of every survivor I talk to because again, we only have a small window of what we see.
Mhm.
Your journey, your story. Is there anything you wish that people at home, fans, would have got to see? Was there a moment? Was there strategy? Was there anything that you wish that they would have seen that maybe would have explained your story better?
Yeah, I really wish they showed a lot of the real one-on-one conversations I had with my tribe. I think that episode really made it come across as if I was just like a tyrant and everybody was just like tired of me running things or whatever the case
Right,
was, but that wasn't really the case. I mean, Caroline and I had a really long one-on-one conversation where we talked about a lot of things in life and just helping her with her confidence and things like that. And
right,
we had a really good conversation. Tiana and I had one really good conversation where we sat down and we talked about our relationships with our fathers. We talked about potentially having kids down the line and how we see that. And she was just asking me, she was like, you come across as a person who wouldn't want a daughter. You seem like you would just want sons. And I'm like, absolutely not. I would love to have a daughter. I have a goddaughter. I love her to death. And I'm explaining to her why. And she starts crying. You know what I
right,
mean? And it's like, oh my God, we had this breakthrough moment. And she's like, I didn't realize
right.
that you were like this or you were somebody who was in tune with your emotion and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you talk to people to figure it out. And I think it was good if they would have showed conversation between me and Kyle, just the humanization point where we're just talking about life and things with me, Caroline, Kyle. The only person I really didn't have a conversation with like that I would say was Sue.
Yeah.
But even when I did try, at one point I did get Sue to just talk about her daughter a little bit. And when she did, she started crying. And I'm like, your daughter will be extremely proud of you just for being out here. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
giving her all these words of affirmation. And she still turns around and says, like, oh, he's a terrible person, get rid of him. So I just feel like, yeah, I wish they had just showed some of those conversations, but they really only showed the me trying to run everything, but they're not showing where I was getting these ideas of what was going on from. So
Well, you bring up a really good point because, and we mentioned this again about how you come to the game maybe with your own preconceptions. And did you find that that's what you were facing on the island a lot? Did you feel that you had to break through some of those perceptions, whatever those perceptions may be?
yeah, I think with every single person, I had to do that. I think every
Right.
single person, absent Kyle, Kyle was the only person who came to me with an open mind and was like, hey, man, you seem cool as hell. Let's chop it up. I'm from little whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm from a town with two waterways, and we start talking about everything. And we just start going and just having a conversation. Gabe and I are from around the same area. He's from Baltimore. I'm from PG County. They're an hour away from each other. I went to college in Baltimore. So we connected off of that. So that wasn't really a big deal. But I think with everybody else, they probably just saw me as a jock who was coming in here, who was just this or that. And they didn't really
Right.
give me an opportunity, Tiana included, didn't really give me an opportunity to show who I was. And even Caroline said the same thing at one point. She's like, oh my God, TK, I thought you were just going to be this guy who was just going to be domineering and this and that. But you
Right.
actually are really, really cool and like gave me one of the cooler conversations I've had since I've been out here. But they don't show those things. And I understand it's TV. You got to create somebody as the, you got to
Yeah.
show a from somebody. So I get it. I totally understand it.
Well, you won't be the first and you won't be the last. But
Exactly.
Terran, thank you so much for talking to us today. All the best of luck in the future, and can't wait to see you on the finale. Who knows, your survivor story may not be over just yet. You never know.
Yeah, hopefully, John. Hopefully, man. I love your setup over there too, man. Send me one of those widgets, brother.
Thanks very much. Take care and have
Absolutely.
a great day, man.
Absolutely. You too.